Alright guys, so in part 2 we will be setting up our UI button and we'll do some more configuration in our app. So let's get started. Alright, let's begin with uh, the UI button that we need to set. So let's go to our main storyboard again and let's set a UI button now. Uh, we UI button, let's set it up. Let's call it completed or done. Right, done, and set it to 20 and hang on, custom, since we're using Helvetica new, we're okay with that. 20, done. To select that, command equal, and we have it. So also select it, like set it bold, little bold, so that looks better, and then select the color as white, because on the background it's gonna be like white, right? So that's done. um, let's just run and see if it works. It doesn't appear here, so let me check. This is the reason. So it's coming inside the UI view, whereas it should be outside the UI view. Let's put it here, but this one should be on top of this. So we have this. Let's set some constraints. So 100 from bottom, width be 75, and 45 is okay as a height, and then horizontal in container. Just make sure that this button is outside this UI view and not inside the UI view, right? So that it comes on top of uh, our onboarding screen. Let's run again and check. So here is the button now. It's coming up, but what we want is that this button should come up on the last screen, right? So, and also when we click on done, it should show this main app. So in order to do that, we just need to control drag this and tap on show. So now the segue is working. It should work. I mean, if you click on this done button, it will open this main app, right? Let's run and check that as well. So if I click on done, you can see our main app is working, right? I mean, the second view controller is open. Now the next thing that we want to do is, let me show it to you again. So what we want to do now is, this done button, it's appearing on every screen, right? All three screens. So what we want to do is make it visible on the third screen, whereas if we go to second or first, it should be hidden, right? So let's do that. So what we did till now is, we gave the data source, like we told the onboarding screen, paper onboarding pod, that okay, this is the data, this is the source of the data, and this is the data that you need to represent on the display, right, on the screen. So now we need to set a couple of delegate methods, uh, so that we can control the uh, the behavior of our button, so that we know that okay, if it's on screen 2, uh, we the system should notify us that okay, we are on screen 2, or we are on screen 1, or we are on screen 3, so that we can adjust the button visibility accordingly. So in order to do that, let's set up right over here, we can do it. So paper onboarding delegate, and then over here let's set onboarding obj.delegate self, so that it has the control. And now we need 2 or 3 methods that we need to implement. So just start typing and you will see it. So call onboarding did transition to index, then next one is onboarding will transition to index, and then onboarding configuration item. So this is what we need. uh, this configuration item is gonna be blank. We are not gonna configure the, the customize the items right now, or the animations or anything right now. So did transition to index. So this is the method which will be called when it transition to a particular index. Currently we have 3 items in our array, so that means index will be from 0, 1 and 2. These are the 3 indexes, right? So if it reaches to index 2, what should happen? And if it reaches to index 3, what should happen? Or I mean 1, what should happen? So this is how we will control it. So let's go to did transition to index 2. So let's set it up. If index is equal to 0, 1, 2, right? If it is equal to 2, then uh, we don't have our button outlet yet, so let's set that as well. um, alt this, and let's set our OU right now. um, Done button OU. So now do it. Done button OU dot is hidden is equal to false. So if we are on the last screen, it will not be visible. We need to do another thing, is make it hidden right now, so it's not visible. Where is it? So it's hidden by default. And now if we transition to uh, index 2, this thing will be visible. Now this button will be visible, um, right? Let's try to see if it works. Sorry, we need to, it's gonna give an error because of this one. So let's try to run and check if this thing works. So by default the button should be hidden, and if we if we reach to index 2, uh, it will be visible. So see, as you can see right now, the button is hidden, 0, 1 and 2, and the button is visible. If I click on done, it shows the main app, right? But there is one problem, actually a couple of problems. I'll show you right now. So we are on 0, 1, 2, and the button is visible. If I go back to 1, it's still visible. If I go back to 0, it's still visible. So what we want to do is, if we go back to 1 or 0, this button should be invisible. So that's the first problem. Second problem, as you saw, that I clicked on done, we reached main app, but when I run this app again, the on-screen or onboarding is visible again. You don't want your users to see this onboarding every time they launch the app, right? So that's the second thing that we need to handle. So first thing, which is hiding the button if we go to 1 or 0. So let's do that. So let's say if index is not equal to 2, right? If it's 0 or 1, and then also we will check that if uh, done button .ou is hidden is equal to false. So if we are not on screen, last screen, and if it is already not disabled or hidden, then we will hide it, right? So done button .ou is hidden is equal to true. Sorry guys, my dog right now is, I don't know what happened to her. She just she just want to play with me, so she's making those noises. Okay, so it should be hidden. That's okay. Let's try to run and see if this works. So 0, 1 and 2. So we have this screen. Let's go back to 1 and it's gone. 0, 1, 2. Uh, so so that part is solved, but there is the last problem, which is if you click on done, uh, it should um, it pops over to this main app, and then if you run that app again, so let me see if we can do it from here. So I'll close this, and I'll open demo screen again. See, it opens uh, the onboarding screen. So this is not what we want. So next task is to fix this thing, and then our app is done, or our onboarding uh, part is done now. Alright, so let's fix the issue where this onboarding screen is coming again and again. So in order to do that, we're gonna need to do some changes in our app delegate. So this is the file which gets executed as soon as your project loads in your on your device or in your simulator. So this is the first file which gets executed, right? So if you go back to our main.storyboard, you can see this is the arrow which says that this particular view controller, or the screen, or the scene is the default view controller, or the initial, or the first view controller, right? So as soon as the app launches, this is the first one. If I move this one here and I run this, you can see that now my app launches and it directly goes over to main app. So as you can see, uh, we directly skipped this onboarding, and we directly launched the main app storyboard, I mean the view controller, right? So what we need to do is we need to remove this initial view controller entry point. So we'll just select it and then hit the backspace. So it's gone. Now our app doesn't know which is the first view controller. Now this is what we will set programmatically. We will set the conditions that, okay, if this one is already, or if that button is already tapped, then we're gonna save that data somewhere on our phone, and then we will check every time the app launches if there is a value, or if it is true or false, and then accordingly we will set our initial view controller. So let's do it now. Let's go to our app delegate .swift. So as you can see, we have a variable called window. Window is basically the frame, or the uh, the view controller frame, or the screen on your phone, right? So we'll set it up here, and did finish launching with options. Just below return true, let's give it some space and say window is equal to UI window, which will be a frame, and it will be UI screen dot main dot bounce. right? So our window is set. uh, this is basically telling, okay, this is the bounds of the screen, and this is where the entry point is gonna be assigned. Okay, so now we need to, so you can see our storyboard is here, main.storyboard. So main is the name of our storyboard. So first we need to reference this storyboard in our app delegate, so that we can say, okay, this is the storyboard, and inside this storyboard we will be calling this or this view controllers. So while we are here, let's also set the storyboard ID for this view controller. So this is called demo. So let's say demo board, and this is the main app board, right? So we have a demo board and we have main app board. So we will be referencing them in here as well. So first let's create a reference to our storyboard, main storyboard, right? So let uh, storyboard, let's make it like this. Let storyboard is equal to UI storyboard, right? It's gonna ask for the name. Name is main, and bundle is gonna be nil. So if you set it nil, it's gonna take the default, which is your package name or the bundle ID, right? So if you keep it nil, it's gonna take it the default one. All right, now we need to set a initial view controller, or the first view controller, a default view controller basically. So we will check our condition later on, but first we need to tell our app, okay, this is the default view controller, right? And then we will check, okay, if this condition meets, change this default view controller to this one, or else continue, right? So first of all we need to give a view controller the initial view controller. So we're gonna call it var first vc, that is the first view controller, right? Which is gonna be equal to storyboard dot instantiate view controller with identifier, and our default one is always gonna be the one where we have the onboarding screen. So we have called it demo board, right? Let's just check it once again. Demo screen, no, uh, yeah, demo board. So let's copy that and let's paste it here. So it's called demo board. So now our app has the default initial view controller. Okay, now let's assign it like window dot root view controller is equal to our first VC. Alright, and then this one will assign that arrow mark, window dot make key and visible. So now if I run, nothing is gonna change for now. It's still gonna show the our uh, onboarding screen. As you can see, our onboarding screen is still here, right? So, and even if I click on this done button, and if I run the app again, it's still gonna be same. What we just did is the arrow mark, the entry point that we removed, we just created that entry point programmatically, right? So as you can see, we restarted the app and it's still coming to this one. Now we'll be using the persistent data storage called user defaults. So it's gonna take key value pair, and you're gonna assign key and value. So let's do that. So how we want to handle this is right over here. Let's clean this in our demo screen. Let's create variables, and let's create a variable where user data is equal to user defaults dot standard. Right, so where is the button? I think we did not create the button, so let's create the button function as well. Actions and drag and drop here, created action and done button pressed. Right, so our done button is pressed now. Our done button pressed function is ready. So let's go back and so this done button, when we press, it's gonna segue to that main app view controller, but it's also gonna call the function, this particular function, so we can put some data over here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call our user data and dot set, and we'll take the bool value, right, and we'll set it to true. That is the value, and the key is gonna be demo completed, right? You need to make sure that when you use this or when you're going to refer this back, you need to use the same key, exactly the same. So I'm going to copy this, right? So here what I'm telling is that there is some user data. So as soon as the button is pressed, create this key and create a value of true. Right, so by default there is no key, and even if there is, it's gonna be false. So here we are setting it to true, right? And let's go to main our app delegate. Now here we can set it like we'll have to call our user defaults again, so we can create it here where user data is equal to user defaults dot standard, and let's call it here. So let's say if user data dot bool, that is what we said. So we are setting the key here, which is this one, right? And we are saying if this key is true, right, then copy this, paste this, and change this to main app board. I think this is what we have set here. So let's recheck main app board, copy and paste. Yeah, so that's what it says. So what we're doing here is if this value is true, then our first VC will be this one and not this one, right? And we are doing this just before we are uh, setting our entry point. So let's start again and let's see this time if it works. So our app has launched for the first time, right? And let's click on done. So two things will happen as soon as you click on done. First thing is it will create a user default value with key demo completed, and it's gonna set it to true, and it will also segue to main app, right? Let's run this again and now see. And this is what we call as epic fail. Let's go back to our demo screen and check. uh, oh, we need to do the synchronization of this, like we need to save it. We did not save the uh, user data, so let's do that. User data dot synchronize, and it's called demo user data pool. Oh, we did this thing wrong. It should not be var, it should be first VC. We created a new variable, so that's why it's creating this problem. God, these small mistakes now. So you can see we are directly going into main app. So let me just show you again. What I'm gonna do is in view did load, but this view is not gonna load. So uh, what I'm gonna do is here I'll set it up. So user data dot uh, let's just set it up here. So user data dot set bool, let's do it to false, and demo completed to this one. So what I'm doing is I'm temporarily again I did not save it. So user data dot synchronize. So what I'm doing is I'm gonna remove the key from here. So we have this. Let me delete this again. So now our key is set to false. So by default it's false now. So let's run it again. And once, so we are on onboarding screen now. Uh, if we click on done, we should go to main app like here, and our key is now set to true. So if we run our app again, or if I close it from here and and close, so everything is gone. Now if I open demo screen, it's gonna go to main app directly. So our uh, onboarding screen or the demo screen is gone. So that's how you save some persistent data on your phone, and you can change your initial view controller from. So this logic of initial view controller and moving from demo screen to, I mean, skipping demo screen and directly entering into main app, this logic can work for your login screen as well. So if you get the value, when you get the value from the server that user has logged in, you can save that in some sort of a user defaults. There are plenty of user default options available, like you can save int, you can save string, you can do boolean, right? So you can save certain value, and then you can check in app delegate and compare the value there, right? So that's all for onboarding screen, the demo screen. And this is Sanam signing off from Public White Geek. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, goodbye, take care.